Pretty women buy your crib, like I love your head. You take me to some sign, peace, peace, peace. This is Y.A.K. Got my big brother, son Lo from the A.Y.A.K Nation. I wanna extend a heartful welcome. We in Jersey City, New Jerusalem, PJC town. I wanna roll out the red carpet for my homie and ask him what he's doing. I want to find out what we should look for as a populace to look, you know, as things to see from A.Y.A.K Nation. What's up?
Bro, what's going on, man? How are you?
Peace, God.
Salute, man.
You already know. Bro. Salute, brother.
100, man. Thank you for having me here,
yo. Of course, man. Thank you for being here as well.
Word. Yeah, so it's your boy, son Lo, man. I'm out here lounging with the PJC crew, chilling this dope location, podcast, live and direct. And yeah, I just want to let y'all know what I do. Hopefully he got some questions for me.
Of course, of course. So, alright, so like chilling with A.Y.A.K, I want to know, what is the A.Y.A.K Nation? One.
Alright, A.Y.A.K Nation is a culture family. Like, it started in New York City with a bunch of friends of mine, mobbing through the streets of Manhattan, collectively from different boroughs, and then you had the Jersey side. We were some wild knucklehead kids. I came from a crew called CM. Well, I come from a crew called CM Mob. Shout out to my homie Devs and Jetta and Tom Lee. You know, just to name a few people that were on the Jersey side of things, that we basically got introduced to the New York side of CM through a mutual friend that came from New York. He moved into New Jersey. His name is Devs, and Devs introduced CM to us. We were already a crew already, but we basically we got down with CM Mob. Like my crew became CM basically, and then we linked up with some other kids, and then they started mobbing up hard. They go by the name of RFC, and there was another crew called One Team, and we basically fell out with One Team, and not me per se particularly, but you know, there was some disagreements and some things went a little sour, and then the word A.Y.A.K was basically a mistake. It wasn't even no such thing as A.Y.A.K, not at least for us, because when we were getting into our little beefs down like in the Lower East Side, downtown Manhattan area, certain neighborhoods, you know, we would run into, and there was this one particular neighborhood called Smith Projects, and Smith Projects is down in Lower East Side off of Chinatown. So with that being said, the Oriental kids would scream "Aya," you know what I'm saying, when we was coming after them, and they were affiliated with the kids we had some beef with. And then there was this one dude, he had such a hard accent, and his accent was just mad funny, but he was just a genius. He was an immigrant from Puerto Rico. I shouldn't even say immigrant, because he did come from another island, but still American, but still Puerto Rico definitely stands for their own, you know what I'm saying, individuality, for their own culture and whatnot. But he was just a hard act to follow. And shout out to S.O., which was his name, and we just used to, you know, bug out and mimic his accent and the way he spoke, like the way he said things. But this kid can, like, he can sell, listen, this kid he was so, like, so gifted with the gift of gab, man. He could sell the clothes off your back to you. That's how slick he was. And it was a lot of, you ever heard the word city slickers? Well, we were them also. You know what I mean? I'm from Jersey, but I meshed with my boys in New York, and I caught some, you know, I caught some of their skills with the city slickness, you know what I'm saying? Like, Like some wild shit, man. It's cool to cuss. Like I ain't my fault, man. So yeah, and then you know, Head start tagging it, and then he would say A.Y.A.K, like he would make fun of them, and then we would make fun of him. And the way he would say things, he always had like this hard like K sound at the end of it. Instead of A.Y.A.K, he would say A.Y.A.K. And then that's how it started with that saying. And then the beginning of how we spelt it was I-Y-O-K. I mean, yeah, I-Y-O-K. And then we switched it to A-Y-A-K. And then we started tagging that. And then while we were bombing that, like, you know, Heads was basically like, you know, still boosting, you know what I'm saying? So that was like our call. We used to have a call before that I came with, and this started back in the late 80s. There was a call that we used to do in my old neighborhood in Elizabeth. And we used to say, shoo! You know what I'm saying? I'm coming from loud as hell.
Yeah, it's like Wayne Street.
And then,
hell yeah.
I used to do that in the city, and that was the call. So we would mob up to be like 200 plus deep, you know, mobilizing through the streets of the village, and with RFC, NCM, and then plus other miscellaneous heads that were just attaching on, whether they were really affiliated or they were just in it because they was in for the wilding session for the day. And who knows, we might have wound up in the clubs or some shit like Sticky Mike's or, you know, I mean just
Two Eyes and that.
whatever, like anything of that nature back then, you know what I mean? So, yeah, so we used to just say, A.Y.A.K, like, you know what I mean, just to catch the attention, let them know like we around, like, you know what I mean, just to see we get a response. And then by the time that mob up, we used to call West 3rd the Hill, and that was a nickname that my homie Tom Lee came up with. And we would just be out there in the Ville, and then, you know, of course Washington Square, but a lot of homies got banned from the park. So, you know, we were able to go in the park, but sometimes, you know, they had them park rangers that start posting up trying to get us up out of there. And then they wound up setting up the lights on the corners because, you know, my boys, they was always into cutting people. So, you know, it was just some, you know, criminal-minded activity, man. RFC, so like, running from cops.
So, like, as we go into the 2018 era, how have you guys adjusted? I mean, we've all grown, you know what I'm saying? We're a lot older, we're basically the elders of this new generation. How do you guys exist now as opposed to that time?
Well, back to how A.Y.A.K became, see, that's a good question because, like I said, A.Y.A.K came from beef. You know what I mean? So, during the transition of my life, being that I, you know what I'm saying, I was a leader, so I got down with the Lyricist Lounge kids, like, you know what I'm saying, Collage Projects, because my god brother Blue brought me in, you feel me? And Danny Castro, Anthony Marshall, and Wise Dread, at first they wasn't with me being on there, you know what I'm saying? At first they wasn't with me being in there, but then they was just
promoting
like,
shows, mad shows in Manhattan, in the early 90s, early in it. Me and my brother Don Teak, yo, we used to do mad shows in Manhattan. Wise was a big promoter back then.
Well, peep game. 9 out of 10, a lot of those shows that were being done by them, it was either Solutions, Lyricist Lounge, or this other joint that we had called 360.
Yeah.
And before, let's just say, like before I got down with the Lyricist Lounge heads, like I was still cutting up and mobbing, right? But then when I got down with the Lyricist Lounge heads, like, you know, say Collage Projects, I started seeing a bigger picture because Blue started showing me different things. But before all of that, I was cool with, you know, my mentor was ICU from BDP. You know what I mean? So he showed me how to, like, you know, hustle the lines for the clubs, you know what I'm coming from? Like, you know, get the money for, you know, for promoting, you know, putting the initials on flyers. So I used to do the initials for him on his flyers. We used to have stacks of them. And then whenever, you know what I'm saying, the people came in on the strength of his flyer, he'd get paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, he, you know, he'd treat you to something or get you up in a spot or something. To me, that was kind of big. Then, you know, I had my brother LSD. you know, Terror, you know, Bizarre Royal, you know what I mean? Like, and that was all fam. Tree, you know, Tree is over there at SOBs still. And I learned through them first how to get into parties, but Collage Project showed me how to get into the live showcases. Like, I became a part of the background for that. That's what kind of made me transition and become a little bit better. And then I realized I had to be a better father for my daughter. So that's how I started to treat, back to where you're coming from. This is where I'm gonna give you the answer. That's how I started to treat the A.Y.A.K Foundation and put it towards the right direction. So I started, you know what I'm saying, getting people like-minded that didn't want to join the gangs that was blowing up out here on the East Coast. Like, you get with this, you know what I'm saying, stick to this East Coast life, you know what I mean, and then let them do them. You feel where I'm coming from? We still gonna have our respect, because ain't no one gonna take my stripes off of my shoulders ever. You feel where I'm coming from? I done put it hella down out here. You know, New York, New Jersey, North Carolina, you know, ATL, you know what I'm saying? Just to name a few places, but my strong roots is here, and this is where A.Y.A.K strong roots is.
Pretty women buy your beautiful like I love your hair. You send me some sunshine.